There's a large police presence on the 100 block of Bethune Street today that saw weapons drawn. Members of the Thunder Bay Police Emergency Task Unit had the residents on Bethune Street completely surrounded with multiple weapons drawn on the residents, demanding that the occupants within the building exit with their hands up. At approximately 5:14 p.m., a large bang was heard echoing throughout the South Side neighborhood. Thunder Bay Police are requesting the public stay away from the area, and we will update you as soon as more information is available. Federal Minister of Indigenous Services Patty Hajdu spent National Indigenous Peoples Day in her riding visiting Northern First Nation communities. Hajdu joined celebrations in both Long Lake 58 and Gino Gaming, spending time with local leaders while also taking in the festivities of the day. It marks her first time celebrating as the country's Minister of Indigenous Services. Looking back at her first 8 months on the job, Hajdu has learned a lot, she says, and among that time, she notes one of her biggest highlights came early on.
When we were able to sit down with parties that were litigating, suing the government essentially for inequitable treatment of Indigenous children and families through a child welfare system that financially and many other ways discriminated against children and families who were Indigenous and on reserve. And we reached the agreement in principle on compensation and transforming of the child welfare system. That's been really fulfilling.
The Commonwealth Summit wrapped up in Rwanda, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met mainly with African leaders on the sidelines and promised new funding to help with a food crisis sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As Kevin Gallagher reports, combating issues with global energy and supply chains will be top issues at the upcoming G7 meeting.
While meeting with the Commonwealth Youth Council, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau encouraged them to help tackle global challenges.
We need you to be the leaders you are today.
But the world's problems have become more complex since the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
What is clear to us is that Russia is weaponizing food and putting a toll on many of countries around the world and putting 50 million lives at risk.
Throughout the summit, Trudeau worked to convince African leaders to condemn Vladimir Putin's war, since many have been hesitant.
Thus far, the Commonwealth has not been united entirely behind our effort, our sanctions, because some countries have not signed on to the sanctions.
Support for sanctions the Prime Minister expects to find when he meets with G7 leaders in Germany starting tomorrow, where isolating Moscow and helping Europe end its addiction to Russian oil will be high on the agenda.
Canada can be part of the solution as we look at short-term needs, but also as we commit ourselves even more and even faster to the transformation of our energy mix.
Today, the White House said it also wants G7 members to address forced labor in China and ongoing issues with intellectual property theft. As leaders start to arrive in Germany, thousands of protesters in Munich want them to take a tougher stance on climate change and accelerate plans to stop burning fossil fuels altogether. Climate change discussions are on the G7 agenda, where leaders will be under pressure to stick to their emissions targets, despite the energy crisis. Kevin Gallagher, CTV News, Kigali.
Thunder Bay was pleased to invite the community to the inaugural Mamaway Summer Festival and Showcase today, which saw crafts, food, entertainment, and plenty of activities. Emma Chilton has more.
We've done little individual events, so we finally came together this year. This is our first one, and we have local talent. The majority of people are Indigenous, so we'll be sharing Indigenous art, Indigenous music. We have crafters here as well as a couple of food vendors. We're having a sacred fire as well as a teepee. So this event, the idea behind it is to bring community together.
Busy cruise ship weekend in Thunder Bay began today with the Viking Octantis cruise ship arriving at 7 p.m. last night at the Pool 6 dock. It's the second of 7 visits by the Octantis, which stopped in town to drop off and board hundreds of passengers, with those who were staying on the ship taking the opportunity to see the sights of Thunder Bay before leaving. Former cruise director Habir Bagaria was interested in giving a passenger's perspective about his journey on the cruise. Bagaria had a lot to say about his time spent on the Great Lakes and here in Thunder Bay.
As I made my way further into the east, it was really nice to see the hotel, the condominiums that went up, the development there of that nice skating pond that I hope to come and skate in one day. So I think, I don't think Viking Octantis will be here in the winter months, but I'm sure people will be coming to do that. So what I'm saying is it's new, it's nice, and it's much more developed than the other ports that we had been to.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Mackinac Island was quite built up and beautiful as well. But next to that, Thunder Bay is the largest and the most developed area that we were in.
The Octantis will be leaving early tomorrow to make way for the Ocean Navigator, which will arrive for its second and final trip to the city. The Thunder Bay Art Gallery has an eye-popping new exhibition which opened last night titled Woodland Pop. It features the work of 11 different artists using traditional and digital canvases. Riley McManus spoke with 2 of those artists, and she files this report.
Woodland Pop is a group exhibition which presents new expressions of woodland-style art along with traditional Indigenous art. It is also Penelope Smart's first exhibition in her role as a curator at the Thunder Bay Art Gallery. Included in this exhibition is the gallery's first commissioned digital animation, NFT, which could be seen in a full 360-degree view. The piece is called Bethune Makwa, which translates to a smoky bear in Ojibwe, by artists Blake Anjcombe and Quinn Hopkins. Hopkins credits spending time with his grandmother near Batchewana Bay and surrounded by influential woodland artists that inspired him to become one himself. We caught up with Quinn to ask what creating this piece meant to him and where his inspiration came from.
Found out I'm Bear Clan in ceremony. Which was lost in my family's history. So that was a really powerful moment for me. When coming up with this piece, I was drawn to the bear, and then just like thinking of world events, in the past few years, wildfires have been sort of ravaging the landscape.
Artist Shelby Gagnon painted the Woodland Pop mural, which includes the names of all 11 artists involved in the exhibit. She spoke about her ideas behind its creation.
The inspiration was the exhibition Woodland Pop, so looking at woodland style as well as pop. For me, it's like looking at colors. I really love vibrant and full of life colors.
The artworks by the other 9 artists include both 2- and 3-dimensional pieces. Gagnon says they're proud of how the various art forms all come together to reflect the woodland theme of the exhibit.
It's cool to have community and be here tonight to witness it all and to hear from the other artists and what they've, their stories and, maybe other thinking about stories that have been told around this land of Indigenous, storytelling, Indigenous just experiences.
The summer exhibition for Woodland Pop and another exhibit called I Voyageur runs until September 25th at the Thunder Bay Art Gallery. Riley McManus, TBT News.
Students at Superior Collegiate recently raised over $12,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society through the school's Relay for Life event. Nearly 100 people participated in the student-organized Relay fundraiser back on June 3rd. Grade 11 student Jessica Kim chaired the planning committee. The group also coordinated fundraising events, including bake sales and Staffers student dodgeball games. And this past weekend, they announced their fundraising total.
We raised over $12,000, and we feel so incredible because our original goal was $5,000, and we weren't really sure if we would reach that goal at first, but as the relay date came, we surpassed that goal over way more than we expected, so we were really happy about that.
This was the first time Superior has held the relay event since the pandemic. Kim says it was important to her to bring it back because cancer is something that touches every family. We're now joined by sports anchor Kurt Black. Now, it's always a good time when we get to talk about some local soccer, especially the Thunder Bay Chill. And what a game it was last night, especially with some locals making it in the starting lineup.
Yeah, you know, I think we might be a little bit of a biased source there, Mitch, because of course you used to play for the Chill. I love soccer myself, but my goodness, no perfect way to end the weekend than going out to Chapels Park, because win or lose, the Chill, they're must watch at this point because, well, maybe unless you're Gio Petraglia, it's a little nervous there on the sideline. But we'll have all the highlights from the Chill's final home game before heading out on the road when we come back.